Hello and welcome to the third lecture of section 2. It's about IAM policies and there's a quick lab as well. So what are IAM policies? An IAM policy is a document in AWS that is attached to an identity or resource and defines their permissions. So it is basically to set permissions for a user or a group or maybe a role. We have already added a policy while adding a new user, new group in the beginning of this section in the last lab. I think you remember. Policies are applied immediately. So whatever changes you make, they are applied immediately. Type of policies. There are two: managed policies and inline policies. Managed policies are reusable. Inline policies are directly attached to a single user, group or role. They can't be reused. Then we have two categories under managed policies: AWS managed policies and customer managed policies. AWS managed policies are easier to get started. In fact, we have already seen this in the last lab, that is section 2.2. You can't edit these policies. They are read-only policies. So since they are managed by AWS, you don't have the right to edit them. So just remember, they are read-only. Customer managed policies, these are created by you using JSON. So you can manage them, you can edit them, you can do whatever you like with them. Now we'll see briefly JSON policy document. Policies are written in JSON. JSON is JavaScript object notation. It is a lightweight data interchange format. It is easy for humans to read and write, and for machines it is easy to parse and generate output. So it's both user as well as machine friendly. A policy document includes the following elements: effect, whether the policy allows or denies access; action, the list of actions that are allowed or denied by the policy; resource, the list of resources on which the actions can occur; and finally we have an optional element as well known as condition, the circumstances under which the policy grants permission. Since we always understand better with examples, let us see one here. So here's a simple policy document. You can see the version over here. Here the first line, version, it is the version identification, and then statement. Inside statement we have three elements. If you remember, in the last slide we have already discussed. Just for your reminder, they are effect, action and resource. So effect is allow here. You can have another value as deny, whether the policy allows or denies access. Then we have got action, the list of actions that are allowed or denied by the policy. In action we have been given asterisk, the star mark, and then comes the resource, the list of resource on which the action can occur. Here also we have got one asterisk. So what does this asterisk represents? In software, a wildcard character is a kind of placeholder. So this asterisk is a wildcard. It's a placeholder represented by a single character, and here the asterisk means, or usually it means, all or everything. So here, as far as this policy is concerned, all actions are allowed. In case of resource, it is applicable for every resource. It can be translated something like every action in every resource is allowed under this policy. So it looks very powerful, right? In the sense that it is allowing all the actions on every resources in AWS. So this policy should be attached if you want to provide the administrator access to any user. The above one policy provides full access to AWS services and resources. So remember this, it is providing full access to AWS services and resources. This looks quite simple, right? This is exactly what is defined under managed policy from AWS whenever you are selecting administrator access. This is a copy of that policy. Now here I want to drive down a very important you can say concept that is related to what happens when conflicting permissions are attached with a single user. So let us see this with an example. Here's one policy, version statement, and inside the statement we have got three elements: effect, action and resource. And here's another one. Okay, the two they are quite similar, almost exactly similar, but can you spot the difference between these two policies? Okay, read them carefully, both of them. So here effect and effect over here in the second one. So the first one is deny and the second one is allow. Rest everything is exactly same for both the policies. Okay, so the first one is denying, the second one is allowing. Now the $1,000,000 question over here is, what happens when both the policies are attached to a single user? Will the policy allow access or will it deny access to the user in question? Think about this. The answer is it will deny access. Remember, deny always takes precedence over allow. A few use cases in real life for the usage of deny could be like when an employee is under some short-term disciplinary action and there are various policies attached to that user or employee. If you like to deny his access for a couple of days, just attach this policy, deny policy with the user, and he can't access any resource in AWS. He can sign it but cannot perform any action. And when you wish to allow access to the user, just detach this policy from the said user and you are done. Quick and simple. Here's a JSON policy that will explicitly deny all actions on every resource for a user. You can use this whenever you want for such scenarios. Let us see how we can implement the theory that we have just learned. Here's a quick lab. So this lab can be divided into three parts. The first part is this. The second part is this. And the final part is this. So in the first part, we will create a user and that user will be without any policy. And then we will sign in and check what happens over there with this user in AWS console. So obviously he should not get access to any of the services. Then we will create a policy and we will attach that policy with the user that we have created in this first step. Then again we will sign in and check whether the policy is working as per our expectations. And then finally we will detach the policy and sign in again and check. Here you should note that this policy we will attach inline with the user. Earlier in the last demo we have seen AWS managed policy. Here in this lab we will see an inline policy which will be attached directly to the user. So I will log into the AWS console. So I have signed into the AWS console. We are inside services, and here I am clicking IAM under security, identity and compliance. This IAM, and we are at IAM dashboard. Now our aim is to create a new user. So I will go to the users menu, click over there and add user. Now we need to give a username, for example demo user, and we will provide a AWS management console access. Click AWS management console access, and then custom password. We have already seen this in the earlier lab as well. We will uncheck this, user must create. Okay, there's a password policy, so I have to give a strong password. Okay, now it should be fine. I will uncheck this required password reset. Next, we'll go to permissions. Here I am not going to attach any policy as of now. Let us see what happens. I'll click review. The user has no permission, no problem. Create user. So the username is demo user and password I have already provided. Here we are getting a message, you successfully created the user shown below. Close this. Now we'll go to the dashboard, and here's our user, demo user. This. Okay. Now we'll go to the dashboard and we'll copy this IAM user sign in link, and I will paste this in another browser. Here we are. Yes, the name of the user is demo user, and password, whatever password I have given. Oops. So we have logged in inside AWS console. Now let us see what happens if I am clicking this IAM. Let us check. Okay, just to show you here, you see here's our user, demo user. Okay, the user that we have just created is right here, top right corner. Now here, see, whatever is, there's no policy attached to it, so by default it will deny all the resources on every service, or every resource will be denied for this particular user. IAM resources, see here, demo user is not authorized to perform, and so this is the name of the action that is required if you want to access the resources which are present over here. Okay, so let us keep this as it is, and we'll go to our original browser. So now I am back to my root account, that is root user of AWS console. So since this is a root account, it has got unrestricted access to every services and resources under it. So you can see IAM resources, users 5, groups 2, customer managed policies, etc. Everything is defined already for us. Even welcome to identity and access management IAM user sign-in link is also there. But when we logged in with demo user, we couldn't see anything over here. So this is the difference that I wanted to point out over here. This is demo user. Okay, so now we will try to bring this under IAM resources. We will try to bring this part using get account summary. Okay, here we will try to bring this part for our demo user as well. For this to happen, we must add a policy to our user. Let us go to the user, demo user, click demo user link and permissions. We have two options here, add permissions. This will go to managed permissions. We have seen this in the last lab, so we will go with add inline policy. Inside add inline policy, we can directly go for JSON. We can directly write it over here, our policy. But for the beginners, I will suggest you go with the visual editor. It should be easier. Here, choose a service. Okay, as we are planning to provide access for IAM, so IAM service, choose it. And then here by default it's it will allow, but if you want, we can switch to deny permission as well. Choose between denying or allowing the permissions specified in this block. So by default it's allow, we will keep as it is. Here you can choose all IAM actions for actions part, or you can choose from the access level provided over here. So we'll go with the list, and in list also we don't require all these 28. We will require only one, and that is get account summary, to show that part which we have already discussed. So I have selected get account summary, scroll down, and then resources. For this you don't need to worry about resources because the actions which we have chosen support all resources. Conditions, if you want, you can specify certain conditions. For example, MFA is required, source IP. Allow access to the specified actions only when the request comes from specified IP address range. So this is for better security. But to keep this simple, let us ignore it for the timing and review policy. You must provide a name for this policy. IAM allow summary. Okay. Now click create policy. So now demo user is attached with a policy that is inline. We will go back to our demo user console and let us see if there is any change over here. Fingers crossed. Okay, yes, we can see this users 5, groups 2, roles 5. Okay, so IAM resources are now available for demo user as well. So similarly, if you want this to come up, for example, welcome to identity and access management, under this, the resource under this will come up if you authorize list account aliases on resources. So far so good. Okay, the resources are appearing over here. Now let us see how to detach a policy. So simply we will go over users and demo user, and since this policy is attached inline, we can directly delete this from here. Delete. Are you sure you want to remove policy IAM allows summary from user demo user? Yes, I want to remove. So click remove. Now it's gone. IAM policy has been deleted from the user demo user. I will go back and check what happens over here. I will refresh the page. So it's working as per our expectation, because the policy was removed from the user. By default it won't allow anything, it will deny. So the resources have disappeared again. So this was all about IAM. Thank you. See you in the next lecture.